In the Dreamweaver 12.1 Creative Cloud update, the Insert panel and Insert menu have undergone major reorganization. Less frequently used features have been removed to make room for HTML5 elements. Let's start by taking a look at the Insert panel. I'm in the default designer workspace layout, so it looks like this. But if you prefer it as a tab toolbar, you can still use it like that in the classic workspace. If I just switch to classic, you can see it's been converted to a tab toolbar, and you can switch between the different categories by clicking the tabs. But I'm going to move back to the designer workspace. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because alongside each of the icons we've got a label which makes it easier to explain what's where. If I open the menu at the top here, you can see the categories. Common and layout are still there, but media is new. Also new is templates. There are no changes to the way that templates work in this update, but they've been moved from the common category to one of their own. Notice also that Spry is still there. Adobe announced at the end of August 2012 that it no longer intends investing in the development of Spry, and it open sourced the framework. But for the time being at least, Dreamweaver still supports Spry datasets, validation widgets, and other widgets such as the accordion. One category that's completely disappeared from this menu is text. This duplicated a lot of features in the Property Inspector, creating bold, italics, headings, and unordered and ordered lists. However, it had two important features: commonly used special characters such as the copyright and trademark symbols, and definition lists. The special characters have moved here to the common category. They're right down at the bottom, and if I open this little sub-menu here, you can see all those commonly used characters. Moving them to the common category makes sense because they're commonly used. However, definition lists are no longer accessible through either the Insert panel or the Insert menu. To create a definition list, you now need to go to the Format menu, which is here, and then List and select Definition List. And if I select that, you can see that Dreamweaver has inserted in Code View a pair of DL tags for definition list and DT tags for the first definition term. So if I start typing my definition term, Dreamweaver, and then press Enter or Return, I then get a pair of DD tags for the definition data. So I can then type in the description. And at the end of that description, I press Enter or Return again. I get a new pair of DT tags, a new definition term. So let's have Creative Cloud and a definition for it. And when I get to the end of the definition list, if you press Enter or Return twice, you then move out of the definition list and into a paragraph. So let's take another look at the common category. At the top here we've got div, which should be familiar to you, and then there are two new items, HTML5 video and canvas. Moving a bit further down, the head category here has been slimmed down. It now has meta, keywords and description only. Previously there used to be refresh, base and link. They've disappeared. But a new item here is viewport, and if I select viewport, it inserts this meta tag inside the head of the document, viewport, and the value is width equals device width, initial scale equals 1. And this viewport meta tag is very important for when you're working with pages that are going to be displayed on mobile phones. It ensures that a mobile phone uses your width values in CSS correctly, rather than rescaling the whole of the website to squash it into a tiny phone screen. Now, the other values in the common category should be familiar to you from previous versions of Dreamweaver. So let's have a look at the layout category. The first thing that you'll notice here is that at the top the standard and expanded buttons have disappeared. That's because there's no longer any options in the layout category for tables. Tables, of course, have no place in layout of modern websites. The first three items are fairly straightforward. They're familiar from previous versions of Dreamweaver. You've got div, fluid grid, layout div, and draw absolute position div. The rest are semantic tags, HTML5 semantic tags for the structure of your page. Inserting any of these HTML5 elements works exactly the same way as for inserting a div. The next category is media, and this has options for inserting an Edge Animate composition, HTML5 video, HTML5 audio, and Flash video and movies. Edge Animate is Adobe's new program for building animated content using HTML5, JavaScript and CSS, and it's part of your Creative Cloud subscription. The Forms category adds options for many, but not all, of the new HTML5 input elements, such as email, URL, and tell. However, the changes to this part of the insert panel go much further, and they change the basic workflow for creating HTML forms, and I'll discuss those changes in a separate video. If you prefer working with the Insert menu, you'll find there have been a lot of changes there too, but the result is greater internal consistency in Dreamweaver. This first section follows exactly the same order as the Common category. Let's just switch back to the Common category so we can see. We've got div, HTML5 video, canvas there, and we've got the same order here, and it goes the same all the way down. And the second half replicates the remaining categories in the Insert panel, so you've got layout, media, form, etc. So the Insert menu and the Insert panel have been rationalized to remove old, infrequently used elements, making room for a large number of HTML5 features, including HTML5 semantic tags and HTML5 video and Edge Animate composition. The text category has disappeared, but you'll find most of those options in the Property Inspector, and special characters have moved to the Common category down here at the bottom. Definition lists are now on the Format menu on the List submenu. It takes a little time to get used to the new layout, but Dreamweaver has now put important new features at your fingertips.